keeping up. Let's see if they can keep it continued, keep that train rolling now as they go up against FAV. And FAV, they are a team of middling difference, I think, unfortunately. They're a team that sort of found themselves stuck in this middle of the pack, middle of the table. They were a team that had a lot of promise. They were one of the ones where back in the day when there was the big shuffle on the Nova FNC, a couple of times the Zav and FAV sort of showdowns where those two would butt heads and sort of be those third and fourth place teams, sometimes fifth, depending on how things went. And then now, since then, we've sort of seen some of the top teams keep and retain their space on the top, like C9 or XC9 even, now Mantis. But when they were C9, they kept their space, and then we saw other teams come up from underneath them, like down on here. And, you know, Cyclops obviously had a sort of meteoric performance, and since then it's a little bit tricky. It's a little bit uncomfortable for FAV because they're trying to find themselves as one of those teams fighting for the top.
Yeah, and currently they find themselves in a relegation position. So they're currently in 6th place, which would mean they have to play a relegation match at the end of the stage and are 4 points behind on them on Kia. So there's definitely a long way to go. Fnatic right above that, 5 points between these two teams in the overall standings. However, Fnatic is in the opportunity to go to, well, either playoffs or a major, depending on this stage. There's something else at stake here today, and you can guess for what team it is. It's not any of these two.
Oh.
There's another team that has something to gain out of the result of this match today.
To gain?
For the next year.
For the next year?
Yeah.
Well, it's either someone underneath or it's someone above. And underneath is Talon, I'm going to guess.
But it's going to be Cyclops. If 6 rounds are won by Fnatic, Cyclops is already confirmed for 2022. Right now. So, you know, it's just a small thing to keep in mind.
Numbers.
It's definitely some fun numbers to come in. So they just need 1 point more than FAV in this entire stage, and they should be good. So that is what's at stake for them. But of course, we're here for Fnatic and for FAV, both of these who are taking it up to Chalet yet once more. And we're going to the master bedroom and the office first to see how these two will play it out here. So Fnatic will start off onto that defense. We've heard it before. Are they going to be going for these nice little mirror setups? Not for now, but there's still a long way to go. There's still opportunity for it to arise.
Chalet, as we find ourselves back here for the second time for Fnatic. Obviously, it was the grounds of a pretty stellar performance. But to be fair, I've always felt that they're a good Chalet team. They adapted very quickly to it, something that in a region that can be so creatively aggressive, to bring some solidity to your performance and to sort of dictate the pace and the flow of a map in a region like this is tough. Because it's always kind of hard to find which way the water's going and which way things are starting to take shape and bring themselves to a bit of a mantle. And here was a good one. For Fnatic, it was around the time that Fnatic started to find their strength again. It was around the time that they started to redevelop and reaffirm themselves as a contender from this region. And if it becomes a bit of a sweet story for them across this third split, I think they are more than happy to read that tale every single night.
Yeah, for sure, of course, had some relocation issues, which is why they're currently not into Japan yet. Some changes to come in as well. Alpha, of course, EU Heritage player, went over towards them. NA, and now is playing inside of APAC. So, you know, having 3 of those regions in his Infinity Gauntlet, you could say, is definitely starting to show with some of that experience here for Fnatic. And well, let's see if it will be working out here today. As the first attack is about to go underway. FAV, of course, trying to gain some control. Library will be first. They need to get hold of it. A lot of these drones are being used to try and find out where Tex is playing. So flashbangs are being tossed in currently. That could lead into a grenade shortly. This is that Afro with the first kill to Stigs.
Yeah, quick swing round there. They're able to start locking off some of this pressure across the top. Puts Tex in a very dicey situation. He went full risk, no reward. A bit of a cover came through, but not enough. And suddenly, it's 2 very isolated players, Mag and Alfama, either side, and a piece, trying to find some semblance of peace between the pair of them. Mag could go for a very long and wide rotate with the C4 in pocket. Might see if he can do something cheeky before he entirely disappears. Sneaking up past the drone, he wants to try and play against the door, drops the diffuser and moves away just in time from that grenade. Alfama is sort of playing the game of maybe I should apply some pressure, but with all the back line and the support still there over those shields of that utility, they don't want to extend. Here is that cheeky C4.
Yeah.
I talked about potential, but didn't.
It's going to be rotating all the way back up to Solarium Stairs now as Legator is in. He's going to try and get in through, but Alpha already on the back of the side will be able to pick up one of the kills. The run through will be there after it takes a little bit of damage and goes out for the plant. But where is Mag? He has the opportunity to use that C4. It has been planted. It's not going to be exploding yet. Alpha will drop. It's a 2-on-1 situation now, and Mag needs to rotate back up.
Yeah, a long way around here. The C4 wasn't quite in the right place. They pulled up and picked up sticks and head elsewhere. It's a 2 versus 1 post plant here. They've been able to pull themselves back out. There's one just behind the little half wall. No, there's the hop over. He's going even wider, heading onto the balcony itself. The other on the split of the push. 2 different angles and 2 different ways to get it. And a drone for good measure, just to make sure that they have all the reads. This is entirely theirs to lose at this point. It's a very tough retake. Mag's going to drop the drone first. 20 seconds. Wants to try and isolate this into 2 1 versus 1s. Goes wide, takes the fight, sprays a bit too short, but it was an expected place for them to be. So, from that onwards, FAV, a quick start, a quick take, and a quick ability to punish a couple of those looser players on Fnatic's defense.
Yeah, for sure. It's not going to be another 7-0 here for Fnatic. FAV started it off strong with their first attacking round on the board, and Fnatic will continue. They're going down to the kitchen and the dining now. Mira will be brought out. See the floors, the A's, the Maverick, and the Thatcher coming in. Of course, finished by the Sledge. Now, the Ace, of course, can be used to get rid of those mirror windows from a bit of a distance. A bit more effective would, of course, be a Hibana, but has been banned, so they need to go for a bit of an alternative. And as the Sledge gets swapped out to a Sophia, FAV is setting themselves up yet once more. They know what is waiting for them. However, I'm not so sure if the swap from the Sophia to the from the Sledge to the Sophia will be working out as well as they want, because there is, of course, the castle that they will have to take care of. And, you know, you still have those explosives, you still have the breaching charges, but the hammer is just so much quicker, especially if you want to use that top floor pressure as well.
Now, it's a tricky first hold there for Fnatic, because in a sort of stretch, they weren't fully tested in terms of their defense. I think FAV saw a weakness, and that was exploited very quickly. They found these loose players, loose threads pulled in them, and revealed big gaps in the hold, which suddenly left them in a 5 versus 2. It was almost great work from Alfama and Mag to start to pull some of this back together. Obviously, they sort of... Mag was like, let me try and cause some trouble somewhere else. I still have the C4, went underneath. If that had caught the diffuser plant, it would have put it into 2 versus 1. But Alfama was doing the job of the smoke, trying to buy a bit of time. We saw them popped on box. We saw them attempt to swing around and was gifted a bit of a wide kill there on Lugeda. But still, it was that sort of loose thread, that problem that I'm curious to see if that's something FAV have done off their research and kind of pulling the ideas of just where the bodies are playing.
Yeah, definitely. Texfer again stuck in a bit of a sticky situation. Will be held out for a little bit there, and drone actually not being caught off by the bailiff there, just barely not. FAV already starting to get going with the take here into library. The EMP is ready to be tossed in. That will take care temporarily of the Prisma. But Tex is deciding to rotate in this time. Has the opportunity to take out the Selmas, but as a grenade flew in right next to him, he decided to just fall off and abandon the whole idea.
Realised that they were going for quite an intense push there. The double down with all that utility meant that his hold was not one that was going to hold. So instead of having themselves in this tricky situation, I think they've realised that, well, we can still punish FAV on their push and their execute. It was something where they almost did successfully before, and here, as they just found themselves hopping in the little double window, it's an early pick there. They can't quite find the cover from above, and that sort of swing and aggression from FAV is something where on their execute they might just suffer. Another spray round. There's a lot of scratch fights going on. There's a lot of people getting close to death, but because no one is quite secured, it means that obviously the late play on things like the kind of radius of the C4s and the grenades is going to be so much more worrying.
Yeah, for sure. The lower HP you have, the further away from these grenades and the nitros you need to be to ensure your, well, life. Sticks rotating back up. Tex gets a kill. Rest of FAV now trying to take control of the piano. Are inside. The barbed wire will give away the game just slightly, but I'm not too worried about that because the side is downstairs. They can fall back. They can just let them peel the onion bit by bit because it's not going to be hurting them too much. And also these holes, well, they're going to be very worried about it. They can set up some breaching charges, but they don't have full control.
Oh, look at that. All of the Fnatic bodies dug in on a very close corners there. They drop for a little bit of a rotate, but I guess they have such a body advantage. They're probably going to find themselves a little bit overwhelmed. They have that core, that back line with a bit of protection from the ground above. They have some idea of roughly where the push is coming from, but it's a bit of an adventure at the minute from the FAV players. Number 2 has gone on a hunt. Hasn't been rewarded. Mentalist shut it down and locked it off on the bottom of the main stairs towards blue, and now that puts them in a bit of a tricky idea of, okay, well, is the danger going to be coming from that side? I've still got all of the bodies left to try and throw ourselves against. They're finally able to get that wall open, but trying to stick this now behind the table, well, it doesn't go so smooth. Mentalist locks it off with a C4. And Fnatic find the response.
Way more solid hold here from Fnatic. They, well, basically stalled them out for a very long time on that top floor, and as soon as they managed to get control of it, they decided, all right, that's part 1 of the onion. That's part 1 of the defense you need to get through. We still have 2 or 3 other layers we can fall back to, and so they did. There was only a minute left to really go for the execute, and they didn't even know if the top floor was safe yet, and that is due to the fact that so many of these rotation holes were made. Well, not really rotation holes, but line of sights. There was, of course, castle barricades as well that stopped them from freely moving in, so they had to take the time to drone it out. And that takes time. And that makes it so you only have 30 seconds left in the end there to go for the execute. And that is what allows Fnatic to just force FAV to go for these, well, sometimes it looks like reckless plays, but there's really because there's no other option.
Still with the extension, still with the idea of playing a little bit further away. One thing I did like from their Fnatic was they didn't try and hold on to lost causes. I think Tex very quickly realized that it was going the same way the first round did and went, nah. Pull back, went for a big rotate, was actually able to find a fight elsewhere and then get a kill and eventually pull that back in. I think they very quickly sort of pegged together that FAV has done a lot of their homework. They've been able to pick up some of these holes and sort of found the ways in, or at least attempted ways in, and I guess it's going to show the kudos of that conversation they had on the desk where they said how many cooks, how many IGLs, how many of these big voices is too much for a team. Well, solid IGLs is how you respond to attacks like that.
See, that's the thing as well. Like, I've been talking about the multiple layers they need to go through. That was also one of those layers. You just let them work for gaining control. Like, you let them drone, you let them use a PC utility, then you fall back. Because that way, you've wasted a PC utility that will no longer be useful for the eventual side attack. So you just fall back bit by bit, let them use pieces of utility as they go, which leaves them with basically nothing left in the end. That's a very unfortunate air jab right there that will unfortunately probably catch no one in this round.
It would be a surprise.
It would be a surprise because it's right in the open, you know, it would be very easily spotted out. But you never know, it's still siege. Maybe someone just runs out and had no clue. Gets blown back into the building, of course, in that case, but you know.
Now they're going to see if they can get them out just on the little box extension here. They're trying to find a bit of a swing round angle. You assume that there'll be some modicum of protection. There is at least an ADS, and there goes Tex, using that opportunity to slip by and unharmed in that process. The second grenade comes through behind the Thatcher to make sure that there's not another ADS. Oh, it still caught it, and that's why it's buried really far away from the wall. It gives them a little bit more range.
Now, there's no more grenades left, but I'm not sure if Alphaman is aware quite yet, because still sticking around now, rotates back in. There you have it. Has the opportunity to challenge. That's a beautiful headshot. Lugator will go down. And that's, of course, the thing that they had to do. They need to make sure that Tex is not allowed to peek like this. But the 2 kills come in. Afra and Shin both managed to trade one, and Nitro will deal a bunch of damage to Shin. They managed to get top floor control for now, but Styx still hiding around. I'm able to pick up some kills.
Dug in on a close corner. The drone just picked them up a second too late, and now they don't need to hold that anymore. They've been able to take care of a lot of the bodies inside on the push, and sure, it's been open to angles, but you're now in this body disadvantage, and now as that hatch gets open, you've still got to try and find your way down and inside the site itself. Mag is far away. He's holding the angle, which FAV number 2 is going to be the one that's about to discover sooner rather than later. Those angles are something where he can try and bite back if they go for the fireplace hold. As soon as the call goes out, the pressure's coming from this way.
No way, that's not
Mentalist
loud.
really shouldn't have been able to pick that up. Number 2 is going to try and pick up the pieces here as the diffuser's cold on the ground. Has the mirror window to give all the intel that they need, but is going to try and find the first, and they're just going to push close on it, and somehow Mentalist survives 2 situations. And I think if he started with 9 lives, he's now down to 7.
This is that was really painful to watch right there. Like, it is hard to say, but that first one, that should have been a kill. Okay, right? I can understand if you miss your first shots, the flick will be there. These are some of the best players still in the world, of course. So managed to get that flick. But then the second you have the mirror window, you can literally line up the shot. And unfortunately, miss that one as well. With that, Fnatic pick up their second defensive round. Need to go back to the master bedroom now because the two previous sites have been locked off. Do see a bit of a different change compared to the first round, possibly. Sophia again being brought out, no Nomad this time. Might be due to the fact that we haven't seen too many big run-outs from Fnatic outside the building.
I think that's it, is what Fnatic's very sort of... Their effort is driven around not the standard rotations. They're doing these extended holds, which you can do on Chalet, because it has those big soft walls that can be offered. But their main holds, their main core of what FAV are sort of struggling with is that first entrance, is that first approach. The Zephyr and the ability to break through that, I think, is what they're missing right now, because it's a lot of time, it's a lot of pace lost, it's a lot of utility burn for what is often not even a true full gain. Is even when they thought that they'd cleared Trophy, they hadn't cleared it. Even when they thought they're clearing, you know, the space underneath and you've got techs dropping down and rotating, they're not getting that clarity, and this will force those to be more uncomfortable positions for Fnatic to retake.
Well, another 3 minutes on the clock here. Prisma still being set up. Might catch some off guard if they try and open up on that window. It has been opened up. That might make them aware just slightly. But potential spawn peek, which is of course not the case. A synchronized rappel up.
Beautiful.
It's always beautiful to see. And they're also jumping in roughly around the same time. They're going to try and take library control yet again. It seems to be the consistent step one of FAV. No matter what the site is, take library control. So there is a bit of support here. Alphama trying to help Tax, who's playing around his just single reinforcement. That's basically all he has, and a couple of ADSs to make sure his position stays safe.
And the openings underneath mean that they've got to have a little bit more of an idea of where they are, because as soon as they hop in, as you can see, there's a body waiting. This should be a bit of a pickup, but it isn't. Styx is just a bit too wide. They're well aware of the pressure that's coming, but as soon as that hop-in will reveal onto that Prisma, which is why it's there, it's not that they really expect to have a firefight through it, but otherwise, the second your feet touch the ground, it's going to be revealed. The second grenade does at least some damage, but nothing more than that. And this is, again, a lot of time. A lot of that focus I talked about before, where FAV find themselves a bit lost in. Afro goes for a drive elsewhere, suffers monumentally on it as number 2 just careens his way up the fireplace stairs. They've gone for a very bold and brash take, but Fnatic have all escaped.
Yeah, they're all downstairs as well, so there's only one person really on the site right now. The rest seems to be all off-site. And as you saw there, number 2 just rushed up the stairs and then there was no one. Like, you might have been a bit confused about it. Styx picks up the first. That's Afro down. That definitely will pull some attention towards him. They now know someone is inside the bar, and number 2 is going to be going on a bit of a hunt. Stax is just quickly rearranging these ADSs for a second shield to be set up, because they know exactly where this push is going to be coming from, and they're setting themselves up while Styx is trying to waste as much time as possible. Already managed to waste 2 grenades, then got a kill, and is now being hunted by the rest of FAV.
I mean, it was a dedication we saw with a single player, and here, finally, it comes to an end, timed with the drone at the same time, but there's 50 seconds left. You compare this with the first time they were attacking this site, and they'd already been able to get open box and get themselves into at least a 4 versus 2 at this moment in time, so they are behind schedule. And that's that growth from Fnatic I talked about before. They realized where things were being pulled apart. They've made sure it doesn't happen again. They pulled themselves out of the firefight earlier on. It's going to cause a lot more pressure here onto the site itself as Mentalist tries to stick in behind all of the wine that's steadily being exploded. Now, he lost 2 lives in close firefights before, but still a 7 on the board to try and use and utilize here as it gets popped open. The first goes his way. The fight against Lugator on the close and retakes the mantle behind the half wall as the box steadily opens up.
So we're playing a lot with the characters here. Has been pulling it out even when he was on full ammo here. Typon in the meantime will be sneaking in from the back. Has the opportunity to get in. Starts planting right behind the desk. It's a 3-2 situation now. Number 2 is on the cover on the window. That is going to be all that they potentially need. The smoke will try and get him out of position there. Double flick from Typon to come in. And that's going to be the last kill from number 2. Somehow they managed to get away with this one. A lot of time was wasted by Fnatic. In the end, they managed to make the execute stick. They got the plan down by just sneaking in from the door right behind the desk. And the cover, of course, was there for number 2 on the window.
That was it. The cover really, truly came through on that moment in time. Obviously, the canister popped. They still had them in pocket. I just don't think that they had the awareness that FAV were just going to try and brave stick a plant, which, to be fair, for FAV, well played. Like, we've already seen today teams that have all the advantages and then just keep getting off the plant and lose the round because of it. And here, FAV, they had nothing really going for them at that moment in time. They'd lost a lot of time and finally been able to get rid of the body fighting and stopping them getting onto box. And then they stuck it. They stuck it behind the desk. They stuck it in a spot that should theoretically be very easy to loot utility onto, or even potentially get a cheeky bit of an angle, depending on how the wall's opened. And yeah, credit to them. They find a second round. They keep themselves in it, neck and neck, level pace. But I think they're well aware that they need to try and step up, because Fnatic definitely have since that first round.
Yeah, for sure. Of course, both the sides that were lost were on that top floor. And Fnatic just continue their rotation. They're not stopping. Even though if they lose the rounds, they just continue their normal plans. And here we will see this similar setup again. We'll see the lines of sight to be created, which will just make them wary of anybody potentially being inside of the bedroom. Windows as well being set up. This could be, okay. Interesting one. Could just place that on the reinforced wall next to it, but decides to put it on the soft. That will maybe make it a little bit more dangerous for attackers to approach, maybe make them a bit more scared. I'm not quite sure, of course, of the exact reasoning behind this, but it is going to be there nonetheless.
I like that. That's sort of what I wanted to see from the Zephyr as well when it first came into the role instead of Nomad, was that quick play aggression against some of the more stable holds that Fnatic was sort of leaving up and letting rotate and pulling away from, because it wasn't them getting caught in their rotations, it was more them just kind of holding down and going for smaller movements, which the Nomad couldn't truly punish. The Zephyr can. The Zephyr can put much more of an impact in that situation. Look at this, the pace from FAV here. The clear is much cleaner than it was the last time round. They're able to start actually destroying some of these holds and some of these angles. They're digging their way across. They've picked up the pace because they know they need to.
Still the mirror window, however, that they need to be taken care of, and Nitro got tossed out, but will not be able to hit anything. Mentalist still around. Grenades being tossed in, but they have to be very careful. Pressure from the door will be coming in soon, you can only expect from Lugator. Of course, as the RCE is available as well to try and use that to their advantage. Wall will be opened up, however. These Selmas, meaning there will be only one left to go for the actual site. That might be not enough in the end. There's still a minute 25 on the clock. So that is what they will have to work with.
Now, if I'm going to talk about how we're starting to see experience and changes at this point, last time FAV had already lost a couple of players and Fnatic had been able to put themselves into a 5 versus 3 roughly, and they'd pulled themselves all the way back to site. So here you can already see that stark difference from FAV's attack. They've been able to get control of map spaces and map plays, and now the actual fight is going to start happening. You can see the rappel on the other side of the window there, which meant that there was nowhere for that body and player to really escape to. The swing up the stairs, though, is not punished. A brave act by Mentalist is able to strike yet again into the heart and the push, and they can't quite get the response here because at that point they pulled off the rappel. The swing round almost gets another victim. It's the cover and the angle, though. Afro wins out the firefight at the top of the stairs and is able to pull themselves back, but you look at the fact that there's 30 seconds, they still need to try and find the execute.
At least there's going to be a bit of pressure now to Fnatic, them thinking that they might be coming from the back. Of course, the Solarium was heavily contested. Angles are still being created, however, and they're thinking someone might be inside of the bar or games area. There's completely no one there, so they will have to just completely ignore it now, and that's going to be the first kill. Mag inside, right behind the table, will be able to start it all off. Type-On, however, gets a good kill to try and reply. There's 5 seconds left. They need to go for a plant in a 2-on-3 situation.
Mag still has the C4 as well. He's just going to sort of hold on to it for now. There it is. There it goes, and there's the C4.
Beautifully timed.
Perfectly played, served up on a plate on the table. Dinner a la Mag.
That was beautifully played out. They were a man down, but still had the utility left. And, you know, there was the cover. They were afraid someone could be peeking in from the kitchen. Of course, didn't. Well, wasn't the case. It was actually from the mirror window, and still that Nitro in hand. It's hard to cover up against that. You really need to, well, for example, play aim laps to practice the Nitro flex. It is difficult, and even if you're like the best player in the world with it, you might just miss it every now and then. So, anyway, 3-2. Fnatic have a bit of a lead. They will want to change this into a 4-2 split, however. believe we heard earlier on the desk, 52% win rate for the defense on this site.
Those are fun numbers.
That's some fun numbers. But that would turn into a 3-3 potentially. That is something that Fnatic would like to avoid. If they manage to get a 4th round here, then they do have the initiative up into that second half.
I think the most reassuring thing we've seen from FAV side is they've responded to Fnatic. A lot of the times we've seen teams when they've gone up against this sort of modern resurgent Fnatic, they've struggled to meet the pace that Fnatic puts down because they keep it consistent. They might start a game a little bit slowly sometimes, and then they'll sort of speed into it and get more and more aggressive and get more and more creative with how they manipulate a map. And here, FAVs refuse to let that happen, which is, you know, it's not just that it's a smart thing to do, but it's a necessary thing to do because otherwise Fnatic will just keep going.
It's the same thing as if you would compare it to Europe. Let Empire get into their rhythm. As soon as they are, it's going to be hard to stop because everything they do, they just do so well. It's so hard to stop in that case. So you need to disrupt them. Something that Cyclops, for example, was able to do quite well during the SI this year. Other teams have some stuff to learn about. Either way, Fnatic again, of course, in bar games, and there will be the extension. FAV this time choosing to enter from the trophy side, from west. They still have a long way to go. They either need to decide to go from the top floor and clear that, or they need to directly hit the site.
Tex holding above, waiting and wasting as many drones as possible. This sort of time play is something we've seen them do before. There's the opener of the piano window. They're preparing themselves to see if they can catch anybody that gets loose, and as a flood of blue bodies gets out of there, Mag's actually able to find a kill for the trouble. Hopped up on the window, they were able to cut off that line, and well, thankfully for FAV, there was no one else that really could suffer at that point because what was supposed to be the pinch, what was supposed to be the back of that pool is now gone. They're going to have to try and restructure and find another way. But again, Fnatic, if we're going to sort of see how they started this game and we talk about their growth, they didn't try and hold on to a lost situation. They didn't try and outgun on the spot. They instead went, well, we still have this backline, let's use it. But we also have so much rotation potential on this map.
That's it. Perfect timing on the callback as well. The two players that were playing around this side were called back to sides at the right moment. Managed to use those rotations and slip by every single attacker in that case. There comes the first EMP that will disable the ADS. That shield will be taken care of with that. Oh, actually, no, it lands inside of the cabinet there, and that means that the shield will stay for now. There's the opportunity, of course, to get a second grenade in from Shin, so might have to do that. But first, checking it out with the Gemini replicator, which gets taken out straight away. So it's going to be a very difficult task here for FAV to clear this top floor now.
Yeah, they still obviously have two of those charges. They're going to make sure that no one can get the swing in from the small box here, as yet again they pull back. The bounce on the closer angle is one that nets a much better result here, is able to find its way around because the long distance and the wide swing on the double door is just such a massive risk. But the time has kept ticking eternally as it does, as all of that electronics at the top of the door starts to pop back into life. There's still ADSs, so they just try and drive their way through, but it's a spray up the top. Tex for a double before he gets shut down by Afro. Now they're looking in to see if they can read the last body, but they've otherwise all hopped their way on downstairs. Pulled themselves away. No, there's only 20 seconds left, and sure, the site, they're above it, but look at the hole. They still have that loose player of Mag away on the dining.
Beautiful.
That is able to lock off another kill. Fireplace is in no way safe. There's one more for his trouble. Swings either side, and Mag locks it off for the 4-2.
That round was perfection by Fnatic, really just choosing the timings. They're choosing to avoid these gunfights for as long as they possibly could. And of course, we're helped a little bit by the fact that the grenade came in at the very wrong spot, which meant that the shield was allowed to live and they had to use a piece of extra utility. Otherwise, they might have been able to collapse a little bit earlier, but, well, it is going to be Fnatic that get the upper hand in that half, and will now go over to the attack themselves. FAV will choose to go to the bedroom and the office as the first site, just like Fnatic did 2 times, which the 2 times were that they actually lost. So maybe they can show FAV that they also know how to win this side on the attack.
10 of the half. 10 of the half and a big drink of water in the middle of the break. It's rare to see our players drinking water. It's good.
It is good.
If you want to be the
not
best,
many teams that do it.
If you want to be the best, drink water, as proven by Fnatic.
You gotta
right
stay
now.
hydrated.
Stay hydrated.
Was it Hydro Homies? Is that?
Hydro homies.
Yeah.
Hydration in chat. 4-2. Fnatic, they've been able to keep themselves solid, but as pointed out in this region, at least this is a map that often holds itself well towards the defenders, but it's also a map that holds itself well towards Fnatic. They're a team that can attack this map when they need to. They're a team that can piece together a good attack generally. And, well, they're at a strength that they've not been at before with, obviously, the slight changes in the roster. They've finally found a bit of a lineup with, I guess, for their sake and any Fnatic fan's sake out there, you hope with a bit of solidity and a bit of growth potential.
It's since 2020 when they were announced to go to APAC North, we expected them to be, well, some of the best, if not the best team in APAC North. It just took them a while, but they're starting to get there. They're climbing the ranks every single stage, and we think that this stage might be the one where they can finally end in that top 2, potentially even take the win of APAC North. There's Legator here, the first one to take a whole bunch of damage, trying to rotate up the Solarium stairs, gets droned out. He's completely unsafe there, so people up repelled, people downstairs watching that window. As soon as he picks this, he will be dead. Just survives for now.
Yeah, we need a scratch, but they're well aware of where he is, and they're going to utilize this. Did that catch? That's clever.
Yeah, so
that's some parkour for you.
Even less places to play for him now. That's going to be the first one, Midas, to pick him up. Grenades and flashbangs are being tossed in. He's completely blind now. There's the second grenade. That should confirm it. There you go. Perfectly played here by Fnatic. Managed to dispatch off the player on the Solarium stairs, and that is going to be stat number 1 of what seems to be their bathroom/Solarium side take they want to go for.
Oh, that Flores drawing to open the angle to be able to burn those, that is very clever. You love to see it, but now let's see if they can try and build behind that and try and go for that perfect score on the test, or at least a C where you've lost a couple of bodies on the way, but you still get the passing grade and still get the round itself. A minute 20 for them to try and finish, and unlike in other exams, we're not going to have any semblance of silence here as we start to hear that cacophony of explosions echoing all around this bedroom. Not an easy sight or a sleep to have as the small box gets cracked open here. They don't have a rotation out the backside, and that's a big worry for them right now, as they've really just got to hold on to hope.
Seems to be no info in this small box here, but there he comes. They know exactly where he is now. Pre-fires from the bathroom window will be coming in soon. Together with Mentalist, of course, is trying to get the kill. That will be confirmed. 5 on 3, 50 seconds. Fnatic have a good opportunity, but there's a flanking coming. Typon trying to go through, but the air jet will be giving away the game. There's going to be one kill coming in favor from FAV. A player on the trophy window will not be able to reply, however.
That was it. The trophy window was supposed to be the cover. It's Afro getting text on the swing, and now in 30 seconds, and suddenly things have started to slip away from them. Mag at least is able to get one. Doesn't get the second, though. Goes down, and it Stigs in a 2 versus 1. Knows that there's a fight close. Finds it. The other was last seen, well, quite far away. They're not going to be able to get the recovery at this point. A big rotation from Typon is the clever move, and Stigs is going to utilize this knowledge of, well, they're not here and they're far away. You can hear the pings popping off. They're pretty continual and consistent. Swings round. Doesn't quite catch them. Bit of a ring around the roses now as the camera is working in overtime. The flashes pop round, but they don't quite get the catch here. A slow creep sees him, finds him. Typon.
No ID.
In a 1 versus 1, might not know and does not know that Mag is lying down, having a bit of a cold rest, and well, as he goes for a quick swing round, whether he expects them to be somewhere else, pre-fires, takes the fight. He's just going to hold it and stick it. You assume and you hope that it is a down outside. Yes, it is.
Well, as a matter of fact, he was the one actually who downed him there, so I believe he should have been aware, won that gunfight, managed to sneak out, but the kill never came through. Either way, FAV managed to retake after the flank watch not really being on point. Could have gone better, could have given them a little bit of extra. Of course, the air jet went off. They thought it was just a single person, but it was, of course, 2. So Alpha surprised. Caught off a little bit of guard there. And FAV will manage to win the site on that top floor. Now go to Bar Gaming as the secondary one. And Fnatic, well, they should have been the ones on top of that one. They were pretty clinical with clearing out the cubby, the little box, and of course the Solarium stairs. However, after that, just a small mistake on, well, the flank side, not being aware there was 2. That cost them that round. So, something that is easily fixable. It's going to be a different site now, however, so a new take they need to go through with. Luckily for them, no mirror to really worry about, which makes it a little bit easier to challenge the player that is inside the pantry there. Of course, the library will be very important again. But as Fnatic did go for a Solarium take and a bathroom site take, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of a hold or take they want to go for this time around, because it might just be completely unconventional. They might just go in something we saw at the Major very often by the Brazilian teams, for example. Go into the basement, open up the snowmobile garage door, you go up blue, and suddenly you're up into sight.
Now, that's going to catch the box wall there that Taipon's reinforcing. Oh, it doesn't.
Or it doesn't.
Is it just going to catch one of those, or was it misplaced?
It might have been misplaced. I'm not quite... Oh, it was the hatch.
Oh, it's the hatch.
Yeah.
I thought it was... Oh, okay, yeah, no.
It's on a doorway, but
I'm glad I'm not an architect. You should... The houses I make in, like, house building games...
They would be, like,
terrible.
completely skewed in that case.
Yeah. I'm one of those boring people that would play, like, a game that I'm not going to name. But
I know which one you mean.
And my house is just a cube.
I understand, yeah.
Here it isn't. Here is a wonderfully...
It's multiple cubes next together.
Multiple cubes. Wonderfully artistically designed cubes that people are very clever about where they put the claws. And the effects they do. Hopped up, dropped down, but Shin is out of there. Does force a bit of the pressure onto the situation, and Shin wants to try and retake it. Heads up, heads round. This is the game that we saw Tex playing that we talked about before, where burning utility sometimes, if you can't quite find a way to at least take a bit of ground, it's a battle for attrition. It's sort of forcing them, okay, we've cleared out, 10% of it. Now we're clearing out the next 30%. You've got to take it in little increments, and that's what they're doing here.
Yeah, the Selma will be coming on, and Shin is the one that has to take care of it as he is peeking quite aggressively. He's not going to be winning the gunfights. The wall actually has been opened up, and Impact flies out, but he still lives for now. But he's going to be stuck inside the library. There's no way that he will be getting out. Maybe another grenade will be used, because he's stuck right behind that bookshelf there, and sometimes his barrel peeks out.
Yeah, at some point he's just going to have to swing, but the longer he's there, the more of a problem this turns into. Taipon, in the meantime, puts the body balance into their favor. The Flores, who was quite a big blow for some of the holds, is gone, and there's the fight there on Shin. He finally tries to take it, sprays across, can't quite get the connection that he wants, but at the same time, he's still standing, and that's the problem that's going to stay with them, is yet again, another player falls on the opposite side, baited with the throw there. The Selma goes across the top, and Alfama follows it up with a handful of bullets, but we're just past the minute mark, and they've still got to see if they can dig any further than this. There's one. There's almost two connected. Tex swings his way in.
Yeah, now one on low HP as well. The Gator is downstairs with that Nitro Cell in hand. Could be able to catch Alfama off guard. As Tex now jumps back in again. There it comes. Will be blown up, but gets stuck on the little display cabinet as well, so will not be able to pick up anything. And as number 2 is on quite low HP, they just could completely swing the other way around again, especially with these verticals about to be created. Number 2 needs to be the one that comes in big as he tries to contest for verticals. There is actually a Fnatic member that's trying to hunt him horizontally.
Yeah, they're trying to put the pressure on the firefight first here, number 2. They know that if they can get that initial peak, they might be able to build behind it, but as Mentalist goes for a huge rotation, they do not have much time, and there it is, the opener. Tex falls, Lugator is able to get it, the man of the moment is gone, but Alfama with a quick pickup. There's one more body, it's number 2. He's behind the bar, but we are almost at closing hour, and it's time for number 2 to kick out the unruly patrons. The first is the swing, and the second is the corner.
Beautifully played by him there. He knew exactly where they were, managed to get the kill, and just checked the corner, saw the muzzle break or muzzle flash. I don't know what it was. Either way, gave him the information that he was able to peek, get that kill, get the second, and win the round. And suddenly we're all equalized. It's 4-4 now. FAV are able to fight it back for now. And Fnatic, well, they still need to win those 2 attacking rounds to put themselves up to a singular point. Of course, where they want to get a full 3, so what can they do? Dining, kitchen, up next. Site number 3, FAV looking to complete the full rotation. The mirror will be brought out now. The Cade is again there. And you would assume there would be more use out of the grenades, given the fact that there is basically no Jaeger being played in this round. Also the previous round, of course, it was the Jaeger. The first round, there was the Wamai. But a lot of being caught off there, so good usage of the little amount of utility that they have.
FAV being a little bit tricky to keep a hand on and a hold on for now. Oh, drop the drone there with the IDA, and it's, I guess, this sort of problem that Fnatic's having, which I guess is a similar one to how FAV on their attacks were. It's just controlling the defense is what to expect from the positioning and from the pressure. We saw FAV not only refuse to give up a hold, if anything, they more blatantly rebuilt themselves into their hold than how Fnatic were doing it, where, I mean, the sprint across behind into the side of Library was something where a lot of other games, a lot of other players would have been punished. He's able to slip that way. And these little moments, I think, are causing the frustration for Fnatic, because for them, that should be a kill. That should be a drop.
Yeah.
And any other day of the week.
That should have been a kill indeed, and unfortunately for them, it was not. But for FAV, it allows them to equalize the score for now. Lugator, again, playing on that same spot, and that will be found out. And you can see here already, the openings are being made, the angles are being created, and he's going to find himself being stuck yet once more. First, however, they need to get rid of the Aruni laser gate, or Surya laser gate, before they are going to be able to get that grenade around the corner. The drone will be spotting out his position. He's allowed to rotate out somehow. No one is watching it, and that will be a very big win here for FAV, you can almost say.
At this point, you wonder how long that they're going to try and hold on for, but we've already seen FAV decide, well, for as long as I can. And Lugate is going to see if he can find a fight elsewhere as they put the pressure onto the bathroom window. They want to try and cut off those side rotations at this point and see if they can isolate them. Last time, it was a debonair roam attempt and a flank attempt that came through. The two bodies pushed together. One of them took the air jab out, and the other one took out the fight. Dropped the Nomad on the far window, was able to find one, then two, and then from then on rebuilt it. But Stigs has that angle on the swing, finally finds one. Typon wants to step into the mantle of the fight, sprays a bit too high, gives the game away that he's there, but I'll give the attention to Stigs, who says, well, I've got to stay here just for now then.
He's literally been holding this pixel every single round he has to play around here. And this time he finally got picked, managed to pick up the kill to Lugator, and that is going to be the opening up into the top floor. But of course we still need to go down, so there needs to be a bit of pace pickup here from Fnatic. They need to get this top floor under control, and after that work their way down. Alpha already deciding to work on the latter, as of course Trophy is an important key position for that. Gives you direct access into the kitchen and into the hallway as well, which basically would cut off those mirror windows that could be used into the kitchen area. Number two, however, playing around the corner with that Vector is going to be a real danger.
Yeah, they obviously have the mirror window that was so monumental for Mag's clutch out previously, but the one that looks in towards the Trophy hopes to be netted with the reward on a potential hop in on the window. But it's actually the descent of the stairs that seems to be the big cause, as there's still this hold on the second story. Tex finds one more as the pressure starts to come down onto that Trophy window, onto that mirror window, which means the back line is going to steadily start to fall apart. Those bodies on the top, they have the choice. Do we drop and try and help Afro from the fireplace side, which it seems like is the one that they've gone for? It puts them in a tricky situation because there's really only one way to get in onto the site. And if they go for a plant as they are here, you don't have any way to get into it without running through a firefight. And well, that's just an easy stick at this point for Alfama, and now it's a very tricky retake because they have a mirror window, they have all this lineup, they have everything working for them. And at this point, you're just running into 5 guns heading your way.
And this could be a flawless round here. The mirror window has been given out to the side of Fnatic, of course, as number 2 got taken care of. And they have it, a flawless comes in. Mac with the final kill from the mirror window, which they managed to seize themselves. And with that, they do, however, avoid that, well, deficit in rounds, because FAV, well, they managed to bring it back from 4-2 to 4-4. Fnatic now put themselves up to 5. A singular round away from, first of all, securing Cyclops for 2022, but that is not really something they would care about at this very moment in time. They want that point, but more importantly, they want the full 3 points, and they have the opportunity to if they are the ones to reach 6 first.
It was one of those sort of decisions, one of those moments where, you know, FAV had lost a lot, whether they sort of made that call of, well, we can't push back over the top because they assumed there was more of a hold there, which to be fair there was, but at least that there was more options to attack from that side, and we've seen them be good on their aggression into it there. Maybe the swing around on the fireplace and down sort of along blue and along that L-shaped corridor could have come through if they'd held on to dining.
Yeah.
But they rotated out of dining just before the rotation came through, so suddenly you have 3 bodies, all of them coming from the same angle. They have a mirror window. It was very tricky at that point, but still, they fought their way back into this.
They fought their way back into the game, and that's for sure. And they really didn't have an other option. They could have maybe gone for a flank all the way below or above, but they needed to instigate that before the defuse was being planted. As soon as it was planted, it would just take too long to go up to the top 4, flank all the way around, and then pick up the kills. So I think they tried to do the right thing, even though it was basically a hopeless situation at that point. Back at the bedroom in the office, though, Fnatic, they've lost this once, but they basically played it perfect until the flank watch basically failed. So we might just see a bit of a more convincing round to come out from them this time around if they repeat the same steps as they had before.
Can they get that connection that puts them onto map point here, or will FAV be able to complete what they were just able to before? Get another 2 rounds and do the same themselves. It's still neck and neck. It's still this high-paced, high-action fight that we expected, where both teams are steadily learning more and more about each other as they find themselves testing each other's mettle. But the confirmation is actually getting those notches on the board here. And to be fair, with how Fnatic's been leading in, they've been pretty good at getting those early strikes.
You might get a grenade from below, or Mentalist is just going to walk up right onto Trophy stairs and get the kill down onto number 2 who's playing around there. The pings are coming in, that's for sure. And that's going to be the kill as well. Kill confirmed, and he gets traded out. There was a member actually inside the hallway. Mac picks up Shin, and that leaves us in a 4-on-3. But look at that, there's still a flank coming up. I believe that's Taipon playing on the blue stairs. Has the opportunity of retaking from the back. There's going to be an air jab that holds him off for now. He seems to be well aware. Oh, they get spotted out now. They know exactly where he is, and he has to fall back.
Yeah, he has a lot of options, though. That's the thing about the rotation underneath, is there's a lot of ways that you can go around. There is a lot of hard cover as well, which, to be fair, makes it, in terms of being a playable site, tricky, because a lot of the walls are solid. You can't be as manipulative as you are with your holds on the other floors, but at the same time, if you're going for a rotation, there's little alleyways. Alfama, he's found a half wall, he's got a diffuser in his hand, and he's going to wait for the cover to come through of the others. Mag has gone down. In the meantime, you assume in the firefight that just netted them a couple more kills and leaves just Taipon alone. Fnatic, once again, have put themselves into a post plant with a huge amount of control here. Taipon is trying to find a little bit of the fight back round. Knows the other side. His air jab takes the first fight and wins it out against Stigs, but the long angle from Tex locks it off, pushes Fnatic to map point.
There you have it. That is going to be the first point secured for them. FAV can only fight for the 2 now that they might be able to pick up, whilst Fnatic is continuing their race to the top. They want to be the best ones in APAC North, and to do that, they have 7 hurdles to overcome, as we mentioned before. And right now, they're at the final step of this hurdle race. Let's see if they can get over it. Let's see if they can get, well, this part of the track at least completed, so they can head on to the next one. Whereas FAV is looking to, of course, bounce back. Bar Gaming to come through. And we are heading into a quick tactical timeout. Of course, logically speaking, as FAV are suddenly 2 match points behind. It's 2 opportunities for Fnatic to lock this game off. And that means there's 2 rounds where FAV basically need to play flawless if they want to make sure that they are staying in the game. And if they want to make sure that they are going to be able to take up the points here. Because don't forget, there's something more at the line for FAV here. They're currently 5 points behind on Fnatic. If Fnatic win this game with a full 3, that gap changes to 8 points. That basically puts FAV almost at a striking distance with 5 more games to go. That's 15 points. So they really need to make sure that they keep that gap as close as possible if they want to avoid relegation.
A timeout. Well, you've got one. May as well use it when you're on map point, because if things go wrong, well, you have no other option to. And to be fair, FAV have been close in this fight. It's been a really good game from both teams, which you always want to see, because it's, I guess, that bit of story with FAV is they've suffered around the middle of the table, but they've still been consistent. It's not like some of the other teams like T1 or Talon that we've seen fall off a bit, and Talon's had a bit of a build back up, but FAV have always sort of still been good. But unfortunately for them, a lot of other teams have been great, and finding that greatness in this short space of time in the melting pot that is the big changes of APAC we've had across both North and South over the past 12 months, it ain't easy.
It ain't easy for sure. And FAV trying to hold on to this game with everything they got currently. The Banshees being deployed, we have the Prismas to provide some extra information, but we are playing in that bar. The bar that came down to a 1v2 clutch of number 2 in the previous time that we're around here. That's again, small mistakes from Fnatic, something they can learn from, and something they have to learn from if they want to make sure that they're taking it home here. Question will be, have they? Have they figured out an alternative way to deal with the approach or the defense that FAV will set up? Because it took them a lot of time to get rid of the players on the top floor last time. To make sure that they're a bit quicker on that one. As there's no one inside of the piano yet, they might be able to get some quick control here, but there's a bunch of players around the piano side, so that is something to be more careful of. There's going to be a grenade that gets used. There's, however, no one there, so no drones to come through. Bit of wasted utility, can almost say. Whereas Taipon still just chilling around his 1 reinforced wall.
Well, there's a hop in, but it's not real as Typon finds themselves. Oh, wait, they know that someone's going to be holding this. Typon isn't really giving anything away. They're just sort of hoping that someone doesn't sneak around the backside as Styx tries to make a bit of an effort to do just that. Slips their way through into Office as Shin, well, he's just on the other side of a soft wall, and there is actually a punch hole / prep bullet hole in it, waiting for the potential to swing around, but they just have no idea. They have no idea that they've been able to get to this situation. As long as Mag is holding that double window, they're able to protect them from any of the potential rushing danger. You can see that Fnatic is picking themselves up. They're trying to find this loose body around the staircase, around Solarium, but it's all time wasted.
It's definitely a bunch of time wasted, but they're going for a different approach this time. They struggled with the library last time around. Now deciding to completely circumvent it by going up through the shield. And oh, Afro, you need to be aware that is going to blow up your shield. He's able to go off his drone in time, though, but that could have been a kill there if he wasn't as quick as he was. 5 on 5, 70 seconds left on that clock. Is Fnatic going to be able to lock it off here, or are they going to need another round? That is a big question.
Another Flores drone just drifts around the corner and opens up more of a problem. There's the real one, and Typon deals with it just the same as the fake. Styx dropped at the top of the stairs, and now Fama, suddenly everything is coming up. Fav, a spray round to try and collect one of them, but Afro isn't taking it. Suddenly they went for a heavy-handed execute. You said they struggled with the control of library before, and this time the book they read was how to struggle a little bit more. They find the first. Tex pops a couple of bullets round onto the side of the hard wall, but I talked about Typon wasting time before. He's wasted more than enough, and a couple of players too. Now Tex has 4 more to try and find, drops down, but there's a man there.
Yeah, there was someone right underneath him, and that allows FAV to get just a little bit closer. That's the first of the 2 rounds that they needed to strike back to have an opportunity at that point, and to, of course, have the opportunity at 2. And now we're heading into a timeout for Fnatic, because they only have 1 opportunity left to go for the full 3, and they want to use it. They want to utilize it to the best of their abilities. I see that none of them are currently talking, so the coach, Grapel or Dizzle, is currently just talking to them. Listen up. This is what's going wrong. This is how to circumvent it.
It's it. It puts you in this situation now where they know how close they are to securing a 3 points. They know how important that could be because they're a team that has suffered lower on the end of a lot of these teams and lower on the board. And, you know, the bigger the steps that they can take back towards the potential to be sat at the top is important. It's all necessary because they know that it's a very tough region. It's a very tricky region. And against a team like FAV, in their books, Fnatic, okay, you go into every game, we're going to win this game. But this for them should have been a 3-pointer. This for them probably on paper isn't one of their we'll take this game in hand sort of ones, or this is going to be the fight sort of game. And, you know, I think anything less than 3 points to them, as it would be, you could say it for any game, but to them today is going to be a disappointment.
It will be disappointment indeed. They had a very great first half, but it's just that FAV is a formidable opponent so far. They've been able to stall out quite long on the defense themselves, and Fnatic just unable to deal with the defensive setups so far. Of course, they managed to pick up 2 of the rounds already. That's just as much as FAV managed to do in 6. They still have another opportunity to try and clear it out here. They need to make sure it counts, and they need to make sure that they get these early openings again, like we've seen them do before. Especially Solarium Stairs. That is going to be the one that they will be looking forward to. This time 2 ADSs around that position. Quickly checking, there's still Surya laser gates on the board as well that Afro can use and potentially will use on set position as well. Which actually might not. Still has 2 in pocket. Going all the way over to library. Just to open up the hatch. Okay, I was going to say, you can put it down there, but
it's just opening.
Yeah, it just seems to be opening the hatches.
Getting out some of that anger. Some of that energy. Yeah, a lot of angles being opened here by FAV. They have fully explored some of the space that the verticality of Chalet offers. It's why when we talk about the preference for the top floors in terms of the hold is you have so much room for creativity. Yeah. There's so much room to have these long holds that a lot of teams really enjoy and really love at this point. And you know, they're a team that's fully stretching that. Here, yet again, we're going to see the pressure up the bottom of the stairs from the garage, something that I really love, whether it's done, obviously, with one of those S charges now. That angle becomes very dangerous for Legator. They can use it to burn those ADSs and swing those around, but they're actually just going to try and see if they can catch it with the EMP instead. You can't overthrow it, or it will just get caught. Hits it in the window, drops it, the grenade bounces too. Goodbye. Like a piece of music, every single instrument was in tandem, and the perfect score led to the end of Legator with such a quick pace.
Yeah, they managed to take out the Solarian windows very quickly here, and that's been their strength around these sites. They just need to get the next steps in order. A bit of a wallbang type on almost falls to it. And just to survive. There is a couple of yellow pinks coming around. The wallbang is still being attempted here by Mag, who just now decides to hop off. Probably to get a new drone into a position. Tex on the flank watch will be ready to support any of these jump-ins to come through. Stapon quickly tries to find himself back to the side because the pressure is on. The shield in the side gets taken care of. The first Selma, the second Selma as well is being taken care of. As Styx gets a double kill himself. That is going to be potentially the game here for Fnatic.
Wow, there's still a chance, and when there's a chance, there's FAV going to try and fight back. Gets the spray and drops Styx on the far side, but number 2 is hyper aggressive here, throws that disc out to see if they can catch anybody close. They want to make things as uncomfortable for the approach of Fnatic as possible, because all of them are stacked up in this corner. They are all around the northeastern side. Mag looks like he might be going on a bit of an adventure. Tegs could get to the double window in time, and you know, they're utilizing the full stretch. They don't want to just entirely throw themselves in. You have to have the cross pressure. Yep, they know where he is. They have the read. Tex is wondering, when can I go for it? They need to be in a position to punish it at the same time, though. Here comes the burn. There goes the flash canisters. Tex is angling and eyeing it up, and Mentalist is the one who locks it off. Afro, they didn't quite have the loose thread on, but if the take on the stairs was a little bit of music, Afro is the one who's trying to build things back inside. Sprays over, finds a triple. 26 seconds, Alfama sticks. And a 2 versus 1 post-plant.
2v1 on a post plant indeed. A flank is on the way, but Alfama seems to be aware. He's just holding the angle. They should be aware now. There comes the kill! Alfama gets it, but Afro almost able to win it out there. And it's going to be the full 3 points. He just quickly watched the stairs. You see that, but flicks back just in time to secure the game and the round. And Alfama knows it as well. He is relieved that he was just looking back in time, because otherwise it could have gone the other way around. So, Fnatic with that, pick up the full 3 points. But it was very close. It was not going to be the blowout some people might have expected. It was a